Pankapu is a 2D action platformer from the indie developer Two Kind Studio. The game tells a tale about good and evil as told through a father's bedtime story. But unfortunately, the narrative gets way too complex way too quickly. It starts throwing out strange character names left and right like it's going out of style, and while the story left much to be desired, Pankapu won me over with its beautiful hand-drawn art, which is featured prominently throughout its cutscenes and gameplay. The game's cartoony aesthetic is slick and polished. Colorful characters pop off the screen against the rich environments behind them. If you take a look at this game's marketing material, you'll notice that they focused heavily on the fact that you can swap between a warrior, an archer, and a mage throughout the game. Seeing this, my mind went straight to images of Trine. That's right, the slow-paced puzzle game from 2009 that featured the same three archetypes. Pretty as it was, I could never quite get into it. Luckily, Pankapu shares little else with the Trine series. It's much more of an action game, focused on exploration and utilizing your long list of abilities to find secrets and overcome some really challenging platforming. But I did find it odd that these three classes were played up so much, considering you actually play as the warrior for the majority of the game. Yeah, you don't unlock the archer and the mage until much closer to the end of the game than you might have expected. Then again, there is a really big emphasis on revisiting old levels with your new abilities, so I guess it balances out that way. As a platformer, Pankapu really succeeds. Jumping in the game feels really good. The longer you hold down the button, the further you go, and there's a surprising amount of control mid-jump. You can change trajectory at any time, making avoiding enemies and projectiles easy. There were moments when I was jumping all over the place, trying to survive an intense platforming section, and amongst all that chaos, I started to take in my surroundings, and honestly, it reminded me of Rayman Legends. And that's a really good thing. And while the visuals made the game a treat to look at, oftentimes I found the soundtrack was completely inappropriate for the situation. Making your way through a dark, treacherous cave to the sound of what you might hear at a dentist office is one example. There's this really intense boss fight that caps off the first world, and what kind of music do you think should be playing here? Is it this? The tension is non-existent. It sucks the energy out of an otherwise really well-designed boss fight. Heck, this other boss was set to complete silence. I was wondering if this was a glitch that had caused the music not to play, but considering how mellow the rest of the tunes are in this game, I'm honestly not sure it would have changed much. It's shocking that nobody brought this up during development. It's just incredible the difference that these little things make. Each level has plenty of collectibles in the form of these adorable little orbs. Collecting enough of them will upgrade your health, and like any good 2D platformer, you're going to need to search every nook and cranny to find them all. Luckily, they let out a distinct chime sound when you're near one, so if you're paying close attention, it's not too difficult to figure out where they're hiding. Then again, if you kill the wrong enemy or progress too far, it's still possible to put yourself in a situation where it doesn't matter that you know where it is, you'll need to restart in order to collect it. This makes you pay closer attention to your enemy's position and the environment surrounding them, rather than blindly attacking everything you see. You never know when you're going to need to keep an enemy alive for a boost. The team at Two Kind did a great job sticking clues throughout each stage to guide you to secret paths and collectibles. If you think you see something along the edge of the screen, take the time to investigate it, and more often than not, your curiosity will be rewarded. Feels good. Once you complete a level, you're sent back to the map screen where you can choose which stage you'd like to play next. It's very old school in that way. While this is a clean way to queue up story beats and display exactly which collectibles you've missed in each stage, I can't help but feel like this might have been a missed opportunity to make the whole game feel like one big connected world. You see, when Pankapu first starts, you can only play as the warrior, and you have limited options in both mobility and attacks. You'll notice parts of every level on your first time through that you won't be able to access just yet, not until you've gained a new ability, which then you're meant to come back and clean up. And that's a big part of what makes getting a new power-up exciting. It's a game mechanic that has defined what we call Metroidvania. Instead of simply finishing a level and then using a cutscene to arbitrarily unlock the next set of levels, why not encourage the player to return to a once closed-off area with their newly earned ability and make the discovery of a whole new land for themselves? Games like Ori and the Blind Forest, Guacamelee, and Axiom Verge have all taken this concept and made it their own, and I think Pankapu would have benefited greatly from this kind of structure. I was already thinking about this during the majority of my time with the game. but it hit a fever pitch once I had unlocked the Archer and saw his very Castlevania moveset. And look, with that being said, the game is still a lot of fun to play. I don't want to sit here telling you that it should be something that it isn't, but just maybe the Metroidvania idea is something that the developers could consider if they ever made a sequel. At the end of the day, Pankapu is a satisfying action platformer that succeeds far more than it doesn't. Yeah, I found myself forgetting most of the narrative, and oftentimes the music completely failed to set the tone, but the excellent level design and visuals carried me through to the end. Even when a difficulty spike would knock me on my ass, the well-planned checkpoints and lack of a game over kept me dusting myself off to give it just one more shot. If you're looking for a challenge of your own, or just have a thing for soft piano in your action-adventure games, I'd say give Pankapu a shot. I liked it a lot, and I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.